welcome back to the Rake. We have a very fun guest for you today. We have Miss Veronica Brill. She's been on the pod twice, and it's been a great time. Except this time is way more fun because she has actually positive things to talk about instead of the other times where we were basically just ranting and hating. She is a systems analyst by day, and by night, we're going to talk about all the stuff that she does at night. So.
Well,
Veronica.
by night, according to Action Ashley, it's one night stands with all the poker players in Las Vegas. Hey guys, call me back.
Yeah, that's actually Ben and I are just so thrilled to be able to fit 1 hour in with you because I know that this is your busiest time of night.
I've got a really busy schedule. Yeah, like I've got Berkey in for the first from 6 to 7 p.m. Usually he needs longer. And then I've got Doug Polk and Joey Ingram at the same time. So that's a 2-hour block. So yeah, God. Action Ashley, thanks for outing me.
We appreciate you making time for us in your busy schedule, Veronica. I want to start off with a question that popped in my mind from Twitter, which is, who's uglier without makeup, you or Shaun Deeb?
Oh, for sure me. Shaun Deeb is a really pretty girl. Like, he's in my Discord. He says we're not friends, but he's DMing me all the time. Hey, what's up, Shaun? But no, he's a much prettier girl than I am. I admire his natural beauty and
Shaun
perkiness.
Can fill out a dress pretty good.
Very well. In 2010, he filled out that dress well. Actually, in my Discord, I have his name as 2010 World Series of Poker Ladies Champ. What's up, Shaun?
Nice. Getting into that though, I feel like that's one of the most annoying comments that people will leave on all your stuff. It'll be like, "Oh my God, how many filters do you use, Veronica?" Like, how annoying is this? And can't people just appreciate a good thirst trap without overanalyzing it?
Look, if you want a thirst trap, it comes with some consequences. And sometimes you got to filter a little bit. Do you think that my ass cheeks do not have ripples in them? They do. Okay. So you know what? I give the people the filters and I give them no filters. It depends on my mood. I actually don't care. I don't care what people think about my pictures and what I do with them.
I'm going to be pretty devastated though if you tell me that those cat ears are not real.
Yeah, the cat ears are real. I grew them. No, there's a cute girl named Scarlett in my Discord channel who sells ears, and she's 18. And I was like, I want to support your business. So I got them and I put them on my headphones, and I very much like them. They've been a hit, actually.
I wanted to ask you again, you seem to be in the middle of a lot of Twitter drama. You have issued a heads up challenge. Everyone is at everyone's throats all the time, and we are getting more and more of these heads up challenges. You issued a heads up challenge recently to Action Ashley. First of all, how many big blinds do you think you can get her to put in on the river after she's already lost the hand?
Right. So I think it wouldn't be the river. It would be like that. The pot already was pushed to me and I won. And then she wants to bet that she actually won once the hand is over, probably 4 days later. Yeah, I think she's capable of putting all of her money in, as she did after the election, betting on Trump. And I wasn't the only person she bet against. I heard she lost quite a bit of money, although she did pay. I have to give her credit. She did pay. The poor girl's trying her best. What do you want me to say?
Can you put a price on that kind of faith, really? And if so, what price did you put on it?
on what kind of faith? What do you mean?
On Ashley's faith in Trump. That kind of faith. Oh. Just the blind and adoring and,
I mean, you need that to be religious, right? You need that. I don't care who I offend. There's no such thing as God. And if you think that there is and you're special, you're delusional. No, yeah, you need a lot of blind faith. You need a lack of critical thinking. You need to really just want something to happen so bad that regardless of whether or not it happens, you still have a belief system that can't be penetrated. So like everything she talked about hasn't happened, but yet she still stands her ground. So basically, she needs an incredible amount of evidence to prove her point. And yeah, I mean, it's just like wishy-washy belief systems. Like nothing really will break it and nothing can prove it wrong.
Yeah, I was looking at Twitter. So I'll just say I've played poker with Ashley and she's a good time at the table, and we're friendly. Her Twitter is a different story. Not a big fan. Some of the stuff that came out after, when people would say, whatever, if someone challenges, hey, so you bet all this money on Trump after he already lost. Like, how do you feel about that now? And she won't respond to that, but she'll say, so you think Biden's doing a good job? It's like, that has nothing to do with anything.
These are typical talking points where she has the inability to self-reflect, to see potentially that she was wrong. I really thought, I think typically people are more likely to reflect when there's a lot of money on the line and they've lost a lot of money, and then they can look back and say, okay, maybe I was wrong. Like, I did lose a ton of money. But she just is impenetrable. She's just standing her ground. And yeah, it's really typical of these illogical thinkers, rather than focus in on the question like, okay, do you still think, Trump won that election? She just needs to take it to a different direction and say, oh, Biden is incompetent.
Yes, but also she's been implying that you're extremely penetrable.
That I am? Maybe I am.
That was the tweet today where I was like,
it depends on who's asking, right?
But that's the thing that ticks me off, is like women attacking each other in ways that are distasteful and reminds me of like the 60s or something. Like, you don't have 4 children and a husband, and you don't just have missionary sex. So you are a slut, and we're putting it on Twitter. Like that's what the tweet was today. And I was like, it's very hard for me to defend her.
Right. So I don't live in 1890. So like, fuck all of that. I don't identify, I don't have strengths within like a partnering up of, I don't need to partner up to find my value. I'm a human, and whether or not I'm married or have kids or whatever the case may be, it is like her stance, and it's not just her, it's a lot of people like her, this smug specialness that they feel that God has blessed them. They have children. Like, there's an oncology unit, a pediatric oncology unit full of kids. Like, so you're special now. Like, it's such a short-sighted smugness that I hate. It is small-minded. It's petty. It's a complete lack of empathy too.
There's been some conversation in the poker community around misogyny in the game and how we can get more women involved. Vanessa Cade's been involved with a more back and forth with GG Poker about their hiring of Dan Blazarian as a ambassador. What are your thoughts, because we're talking about not putting women in these boxes? What are your thoughts on outside of the box ways to make poker a more welcoming game for everybody?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is. I think like poker in general, the poker community is really toxic. I think like it's the same as the gaming community. And like, go on Discord, go play online, and you'll be called every name in the world. And even like some grimy poker rooms. I grew up playing poker with guys who were constantly making me cry. Not all of them, but like, it's male dominated. I think like online poker, a lot of guys are playing and they don't know how to socialize well. I don't know. Like, I don't think women are being driven, at least women in my generation, were not being driven into like engineering and mathematics and chess and all this stuff. I think now they are more so. I think we'll have more women in poker. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is something I ponder all the time. I don't know what the answers are. I go into a poker room. I never feel uncomfortable. It's just not enough women. There's not enough women there. I don't know why, I think there's many variables involved as to why that is so. Maybe we have less, we're more risk averse. Like, we just, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think like there are so many factors. I think it's just a huge question. One thing about like STEM, like women don't go into STEM as much. I was like excelling at math and I got told to major in English, like a guidance counselor. And I'm like, okay,
right.
That just be their like their unconscious bias is just that, you'd probably be a better writer or a lawyer or something like that. And like, it's not like I got pushed into like making apple pies for a living. They just nudged me in a different direction. I think that can happen to a lot of people. At some point, they just get derailed from something they maybe were naturally going to be good at. But I also think there's a lot of anti-advertising to women. I don't think we need to do some huge proactive thing to get women into poker, but maybe stop having terrible ads, like ones where women are like laying provocatively across a table. Or there was one, this is funny because I was commentating WSOP, yet the commercials in between, there was one where it shows a bunch of women sitting around appreciating an engagement ring that a woman got. And then they show the guys sitting around with the WSOP circuit ring, like, wow. And I was like, ew, like, this is so, it's like women like this stupid thing that doesn't mean anything. Men like this thing that they won that symbolizes something. You're like, oh my God, there's a lot of like anti-advertising that is just around in poker that like might seep into people's minds. But they're like, oh, like a woman would be like, oh, this isn't for me. Not meant for me. I don't know. There's so many different things, but it's been the topic this week. It gets dredged up over and over again. But like because of International Women's Day and because of the Gigi Vanessa Cade thing and because Doug Polk's just hopping in now, I'm like, what are you doing? It just is a topic again. I feel like it never really gets resolved with anything.
Right. And I think as like, if I want to go on to your point with like the women and the engagement ring, I think we're like from day one, we're like told to want this dream wedding and we're dreaming about this wedding dress and this ring. And I think the whole like wedding market is a big sham. And I think it's a waste of money. And I think people should instead focus on like finding a good partner and having a best friend and thinking about who you want to be with for an extended period of time. And not blowing money on one day. But it's like this whole market is drilled into our heads. Don't get me started, honey, because I'm not in the mood tonight.
We both have thick skulls then because it didn't get drilled into mine.
Yeah, I mean, like
I've been saying that about you, Jamie.
That I have a very thick skull?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. You can't touch me today. The reason I'm late for our pod today is I was on a waste list for a vaccine. And they called and said, you have this many minutes to get here before this gets thrown out. And I was that many minutes away.
I'm super happy that you got it.
I can't wait to enter the real world.
I'm on the same wait list.
Dude, I hope you get it and that we get to go play live poker tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of have the antibodies. I just got it the hard way. I thought I was going to die. But
no.
Yeah, I got COVID just before Christmas. And I was like, I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. I've never been so sick. It's been months of like recovery to get back to running again, to get back to feeling normal.
How do you think you got it?
I got it from a friend, had dinner with a friend, asymptomatic friend, or I got it at the grocery store. Those are the only two things that I did in that 2-week span.
It was one of these one night stands. Like we knew you were doing work.
Yeah. Well, it was a foursome that night. Like, I was feeling a little wild. Shaun Deeb was in town.
Yeah, what is that all about? What is the Shaun Deeb thing about? Because you guys are friendly. You're in a gaming Discord group together. You get picked on a lot. But I think it's like, I don't think it's real. Like with Ashley, I think she's picking you. I feel like with Deeb, it's not real, right? It's like
yeah, I think Deeb and I, like, he's a weirdo, first of all. Okay, we're friends. We are friends. Like we DM each other. He, like I check, I see how he's doing. Like, it's not like, I don't want his wife to get upset. It's not like any like substantial DMs, but we have a sense of humor, between each other. So, we play Among Us together. And we joke around with each other. He's like a sexist pig half the time, but I'm trying to rehabilitate him. It's not working, but we have a good sense of humor. I think he like does it to bug me. And like, it's just, I know he was joking and that's why he didn't pile on the insults after I got him back.
Nice.
Which I was ready for. I'm ready, Shaun. If you want to go, let's go.
Oh, I would love that. Oh God. Yes, please. Let's have like an MMA fight where it's you versus Shaun. I'm all in.
Except
they might be in different weight classes.
I don't think it matters.
We definitely are in different weight classes. Right. That's for sure.
But you would just have to sort of like jog around the ring for a little while and then you win.
I would just take him for a little run, a little 1 mile run, and he'd die on the way.
Oh. And then Negreanu wins the marriage lasts longer that they had, right? I think his death.
And that's so silly. That's a silly bet.
Yeah. Let's talk about something happy, because instead of like, we're gonna have you on
Ashley's very happy. She's got 4 kids. She wakes up every morning. Can you imagine waking up to someone who thought Trump won that election every fucking morning?
No, I really can't.
Can you imagine torching that much money after he's already lost the election when you have 4 kids to take care of?
And like nothing has come true that QAnon said was going to come true. At what point do you say, you know what, maybe I'm wrong? At one point when do you reflect and say, okay, maybe I need to change my belief system? And you know what? Like, I hate the word belief system. Like, there's facts and we understand them or we don't. And that's it. And like, she just can't grasp that. Anyway, heads up, Ashley. We'll figure out a place to play. I think we're going to play 510.
Okay.
We'll see. I need to get a coach. Anyone out there wants to coach me?
Good shit.
It's not going to be chainsaw though. You can't. Don't contact me.
Don't contact me. Oh, is there a story behind that?
No. He just. Okay. I'm just joking. He's right. Funny.
Okay. Well, happy non-controversial stuff. You recently were tapped to host Poker After Dark, which is a pretty big deal because, growing up as little baby poker players, we all watched Poker After Dark.
We all did.
Everyone. Yeah.
I was a big fan of the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've been watching the show forever.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Like, how did that come about? What was your experience like? Was it a nerve-wracking thing? Did you have to wear super fancy, pretty clothes? Was it like a Leanne Tweeden kind of thing, or you got to just be yourself? How'd it go?
Okay. So how it started was, I started a little YouTube channel that very few people watch and subscribe to. And somehow, some of the people at Poker Go noticed it. And they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to audition. And I was like, sure, whatever. That's great. I'm just happy for the opportunity. And I actually kind of didn't think I would get it because, I don't know, like typically they've had younger women and fancy schmancy. And I went in, dressed the way I like to dress. And they had me doing a bunch of things. They had me doing like color commentary on top of a high roller video. They had me like doing mock interviews with JRB and Phil Hellmuth. And they ended up saying, okay, we'll give you a 1-season audition. And so I went down there and the entire time I was just like a kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God, I'm such a fan of this show. I can't believe this. Like this is like a bucket list item, like, I don't care if they edit me out or not. Like, I was here. And yeah, so I dressed the way I wanted to dress. They basically said that they wanted me for me. And that they wanted me to interview people the way I wanted to interview them, not the way that I thought they wanted me to. And, for the most part, it was a lot of fun, very nerve-wracking. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. Because when I interview people or when we do like Zoom stuff like this, it's kind of chill. Like, we don't really see any cameras. There's, it's just like you're at home. Mm-hmm. But it's really nerve-wracking when I have like a producer in my ear. I'm trying to keep track of the game. I can't see the game. I can't see the whole cards, or sorry, hold cards. Sorry, states.
States.
And then trying to, keep track of everything and then go and interview them. Like, okay, you have 5 seconds. Like, get up on stage and interview them. And it's just, it was just not anything I was used to. It's very structured. Mm-hmm. They run a very tight ship there. And it was my first experience with like a real production environment.
That's cool. So you were able to ask whatever interview questions you want. Were you like a sassy kind of person, or were you taking it like very seriously, and like, what can you expect?
It depended on the person. So there were some awkward interviews, I have to say. Like, the worst interviews are when someone's like running bad. I just like, the producer wants me to interview them. We need to get certain interviews before our time runs out. But the person's like, oh, I'm stuck. Do we need to do this? Like, and I'm like, oh, I hate this. I do have to work on a few things, like one-line answers or one-word answers are really tough to deal with. And it's also like not a comfortable environment. Like it's not like we're in a living room just chatting. It's like there's cameras. We had to have 6 feet of distance between us. Sometimes we were standing at the front of the stage, so it's not like a normal place where you would talk to someone with like a million lights and cameras and like people in the background. I don't know. It was just like some of the interviews were a little awkward. Most of them were a lot of fun. I think some games were way more serious than others. Yeah, I think like 2 interviews didn't go well. And in a way, I hope they keep them because I think it's funny when shit goes bad anyway. I think it like makes for good TV.
That explains why you accepted this podcast in for the roles.
I did it because Jamie promises me, stuff.
Things, after. Yeah. I'm familiar with Jamie's promises, Veronica.
I actually have like the biggest crush on Jamie. I just don't, talk about it all the time. No, but Jamie, like seriously, call me. If you,
I'll call you.
Yeah,
I'm vaccinated. I'm chilling.
I'm pretty much vaccinated.
Yeah. All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
do you guys want me to leave?
Yeah, Ben, if you could just exit this Zoom. Like, I haven't really had a sexy Zoom, so if you just want to leave, you could.
We can stop recording after this. We can keep recording. I don't care. It's been despite what Action Ashley thinks, it's been a long time. So, like, we can keep recording. I'll take off my clothes. Let's make this happen.
Do you guys feel like this upcoming World Series of Poker is going to be the horniest summer ever in Vegas? Like, enough people are just vaccinated. It's going to be popping off. Your schedule is going to be jammed full, Veronica.
My
along
schedule?
with some other things.
I wish I had like. I wish I wasn't so like emotionally delicate that like it's very difficult for me to find someone to date.
Oh, man, shit got real.
The vulnerability came out.
Oh man, I'm not ready for like vulnerability pod. Jamie, crack a joke, quick, save us.
I got nothing. I was just like, "What? Damn, it got real fast here."
Veronica, stop talking about like things that are actually internal and not superficial.
Yeah, I was more on the like, hey, Veronica, we'll just exchange our thirst trap pics. Like, our DMs will just look like dudes think. Like, it's kind of like guys think girls have sleepovers and have pillow fights in our underwear, but like, we really should just do that.
Oh, you haven't?
Ben has left the call.
I'm kind of like I'm getting revitalized here. I think I'm going to send some thirst traps after this with my ears on.
Oh, talk to me about that because that's very funny. Like you just decided today, you're like, I look cute today, and I'm putting on this like Solve for Why hoodie and just gonna take underwear pics and post them. I need to know what goes into these decisions, and what companies get supported in this spot.
Okay, so I have to shout out a few companies that are sending me free hoodies for my thirst traps. First of all, Upswing Poker sent me 2 hoodies and a t-shirt. I think or 2 hoodies. I'm getting a bunch of stuff. I can't even remember anymore. And I actually owe Upswing Poker one more thirst trap because they gave me.
We don't like them on this pod. We like Run It Once. So Run It Once is going to send you a hoodie.
I will be more than happy to do some thirst traps. If you send a zip up, you get boobs. If you get send a pullover, you get the bottom.
Okay, so Run It Once. You hear that? I feel like this isn't exactly on brand for Phil Galfond, but
he'll be okay. Farah and I are friends. We're all good.
Oh man, I feel like we're really gonna spark this heads up battle. Like I thought there's probably like a 50% chance the heads up battle is gonna happen. I put it at like 99% after this pod because we're stirring some shit.
Yeah, well, the thing is like we have to think about the logistics of this. Like how are we gonna make it happen? I don't want to have to fly to Texas to go play this girl heads up. I think we could do it online with Play Money and then square up at the end of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think if we're doing it online, I don't know if 510 is appropriate, but we'll see. Looking for a coach right now.
What about live in Vegas during WSOP? Because it's easy to get both of you there at that point.
Yeah, I think that would be fine, but who cares? Like, there's so much going on at the World Series of Poker. Why would anyone give a shit about watching us play heads up? Like, literally no one cares.
I'll put money on this. We're going to get you coached. It's going to be fun. Who cares about anything poker? We'll make a big deal of it.
People will watch for the possibility. There's got to be like a 5% possibility one of you goes over the table at the other, right? Like that's
I refuse to take part in any violence, but I will I will talk shit about her like nonstop for sure. She told me size 2 is not a good lay. Excuse me. Why don't you call Berkey and Doug Polk and Joey Ingram and Shaun Deeb and ask them if I'm a good lay? Because I am.
We're going to get them on the pod next. Just a round table.
Look. I don't want to. I'm joking, everybody. I have not had sex with any of those people since last night.
Yeah. She was actually scheduled to, but this pod is taking up that time slot. You also mentioned
let's just clarify. It irritates the shit out of me that women like that are just making an assumption because I'm single that I'm going around screwing everyone in the poker community. It's fucking irritating. Some of us want to take some time to find ourselves for a year or two and not have sex with anyone. How about that?
Yeah. And also, even if you were screwing everyone in the poker community, who cares? Yep. Some lady on Twitter cares. But yeah, I think you should do this heads up match. I think we'll find you a coach. Maybe we'll find you a run at once coach and we can make a big spectacle of this and we'll see how much better you get and we'll make some content out of it and it can be on Poker Go or something.
Yeah, let's get Patrick from Run It Once.
You want Pads? Oh, Pads is more like a tournament specialist.
Oh yeah, he is a tournament guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's endless good pros on Run It Once that we can set up, and also especially if you're willing to just sleep with everyone. I mean, that's an added bonus for them, you know.
We interrupt this podcast with a message from our sponsors at Run It Once. At Run It Once Poker, we've brought back our popular Leaderboard Booster promotion. From now until March 21st, we're hosting 3 weekly No Limit Hold'em leaderboards, 4 weekly Pot Limit Omaha leaderboards, and 4 weekly S&G Select leaderboards, with the top 3 spots on each board receiving a cash prize. And if you don't make the top 3 spots on any board, don't worry. We've added an extra cash prize ranging from €5 to €1,000 based on the number of weekly leaderboard points earned by each player. For full details, head to once.run/leaderboards. And, as always, if you're looking to improve your game, head on over to Run It Once Training, where you'll find the largest library of high-quality poker training content on the web, created by some of the greatest minds in the game, including Run It Once founder Phil Galfond. Sign up today at once.run/learn and you'll get free access to 3 elite videos from high-stakes legends Phil Galfond, Ben Solsky, and Jason Kuhn. And now, back to the pod.
All right, after Poker After Dark, that went well, but you don't know if you're going to end up on the cutting room floor, you said, which I think that would be some serious bullshit. That can't happen. But do you think you're going to work with them again? Do they give you any kind of hints about that, or do they wait for it to air first?
There are some hints in a good direction.
Yay, let's go.
Can those episodes haven't aired. What lineup should we as poker fans be most excited for? No specific spoilers, but
I can't say who was on the show. But I will say that so I don't know how many episodes. I think they get 2 or 3 episodes out of a day of filming, and we did 5 days of filming. One day was celebrity packed, and it was quite insane. It was a lot of fun to watch them play. And then I would say one of the days was drunken degens, and it was amazing. And I wish that one day extended out for another 6 days. I think there's some people we've already seen on High Stakes Poker and Poker After Dark, and then a lot of new people. Mm-hmm. So it was great. I think the action was really good. So next time I need to not interview people after they're down $50,000 or something.
There's nothing you can do though. I know Marley had talked about that too, that there's just this air of awkwardness when the person is on the show. So they're expected to do an interview. So they're like, okay, I'll do this interview. But they're they show up with the most sullen expression, hating their life. And you have to be like, how does it feel to be here on Poker After Dark? And you can see it already that they hate everything. and they make you do it anyway. And it's a bad spot. And like, you're not getting a good interview there. And there's some people who like, even if they're winning, they don't like to speak very much, and you're not getting a good interview there. It's not really your fault. Like, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know how I dealt with it. I dealt with it terribly. Like there was one person who, it was one of my worst interviews. He was so phenomenal at the table, laughing, joking, talking, splashing, it was just, he was amazing. I'm like, hey, I said to my producer, Zach, I'm like, Zach, I want to interview him. Like he looks amazing. I can't wait. I had all these things written down. He was up in chips, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as the cameras turned on, he's like, what? Like, what? I don't want this interview. What?
Oh,
and
no.
he's like, oh, I'm busy. Like he just did not want to do it. And I know the second they don't want to do it, it just goes bad. Yeah. And so as soon as the cameras were on him outside of this like little table area that was his comfort zone, he was not interested. And it was such an awkward interview. I don't know. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Maybe they like me because it was organic. I don't know. I actually spoke with Maria Ho after, and she gave me some really good tips. Unfortunately, I wish she could have told me before but she had her wisdom teeth out and she couldn't tell me.
Oh.
But it basically like practice talking to people who give you one word answers, and just like think about things to say when they give you one word answers. But that's like the biggest struggle, is just someone who just doesn't want to be interviewed. I don't know if there's like, sometimes the jokes are awkward. Like you try to warm them up. Like one person I tried to warm up, I'm like, hey, I'm going to make fun of you a little bit if that's okay. And he's like, whatever. And I'm like, you can make fun of me too. I'm a washed up middle-aged woman. And he's just like stared at me. I'm like, all right. And then they're like, okay, go. And I'm like, it's just like this awkward, super awkwardness. And I don't know. I don't know if it'll come across.
I would say watch Kara Scott as she interviews people busting out of the main event final table. She has like the magic touch to get people who are like, their life just got ruined and they're walking out in their stupor. And she gets them to give an interview. And I've never seen anyone be able to do that.
Kara is such a pro. I have a story about a Kara interview, actually. When I was on the Premier League, everything went absolutely awful. I don't know if you know the structure of the Premier League, but there's like the 4 sit and goes, and then you collect points, and then they combine the best of both tables together. But I was eliminated. I could not make the final like combination of players after round 3. And she did my bust out interview like after the 3rd sit and go. So I still had to like come back and play again, but we were already doing my bust out interview. And it's still she just got it to go well somehow. I don't know. She has the magic touch. She's a genius.
There's this like very Canadian sympathy that you just believe, where she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And you're like, you believe it. She means it. She's like so kind, where no one would believe that coming from me.
You would think Veronica and I would have it too, but nobody believes our sympathy.
I don't know where mine is. I feel like they took it away from me when I left Canada. I don't know. I'm oot in a boot and I'm missing that. I don't know where it is. It's the lack of steeped tea from Tim Hortons. So
But yeah, I feel like she's a good person to watch. I'm sure she had the same problems though. Like when you're new, you're not going to be amazing at dealing with cranky poker players. Like you're not getting a good, funny soundbite out of someone who's pissed off and losing. Like I don't think I could deliver a good soundbite. If I'm losing, if I'm stuck 3 buy-ins and you ask me for a joke, I just be like, go to hell, Veronica. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to know your audience, and not everyone is open to jokes, especially that like lowbrow humor that I like to start with, the zingers. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like every interview is not going to work out well. And it was my first time doing a show like this. And I think they understood that. I think like a lot of the job isn't just like getting on camera and doing a great interview. A lot of the job is also working with the staff and being easy to work with. Like no one wants someone who's walking in like, get me my makeup. Where are my M&Ms? Red removed. Like no one wants that. So I tried my best to be really good with the staff and listen to what everyone, all the direction I was giving, really good with feedback. I was getting a lot of feedback and I tried to improve as I went, and everyone was trying to help me succeed. And yeah, staff are like full of OGs. Like they have a lot of poker stories. Yeah.
And going forward, do you think you're going to be doing, so you have a real job, you're a real human being. Going forward, are you trying to get more into poker and hosting and maybe commentating and playing more, or what is your plan?
I don't know. I really like what I do. I really like having poker as something on the side that I enjoy, but I also don't want to miss opportunities. I don't know. Like, it's so weird to think about. I hate making everything about age, but it's like so weird. Like at 43 years old, like I'm thinking about a career in like hosting, like that my time should be over for the most part, but typically it has been for women. But so like, I don't know. I just don't care. I'm kind of free. Like I'm open for opportunities. I would move if an opportunity came up. I would change jobs, but I really love where I'm working. I have a really good situation for myself right now. I'm super comfortable and and I think this is fine the way it is. If I could just freeze this
I need
moment.
to object to what you're saying though. Like that's ridiculous. I'm not letting that just hang there. Like being 43, you aren't dead yet. You look great, and it shouldn't be about just how you look. Like if you're doing a great job, there's nothing that says a hostess has to be 23 years old.
Right. No, I agree with you. And I really hated my parents saying, "Oh, we're too old. We're so old. No, we're in our 30s and 40s." Like I hate that shit. But I'm saying objectively from like television standpoint, women have always, been thought of as like a little bit aging in their 40s. Although I know I look pristine for my age, but no, I like it's a thing. It's a thing. Like, and most of the hostesses have been quite a bit younger than me. So it was just like when they first called me, I'm like, are you sure you guys know what's going on here? So yeah, of course they want someone who knows poker and who's good at hosting, but it's also a consideration. Like no one wants to look at, an old bat who's on her fifth facelift, which I will be.
I do. I'll look at you when you're on your fifth facelift, as long as you're saying funny things and doing a good job. So I think we need to just take that out of the poker consciousness.
Again, it's like the women in poker thing. We can act like it doesn't exist and we can try to talk it out of existence, but it still exists. It's still a thing. Ageism is still a thing. Ageism is a thing in dating. I think it's a hindrance in dating as well. And in my dating life. And I think it's a hindrance in a career in broadcasting for sure. If you're going to be on TV, you can pretend that it doesn't exist, but it does.
Speaking of your dating life, talk to us about the hazards of over 40 Tinder.
I don't have, like, we and talk about the stuff we're going to talk about, but like somehow you just let this one slip right through the cracks. I don't know that you're fielding Tinder questions at the end of this interview.
I just like, in some ways, I guess like I always think like, who gives a fuck about whether or not I'm single? But I guess like people, that's like the one thing people always want to know about each other, right? Tinder's fucking terrible. I'll go on it for like 2 days every 3 or 4 months and like instantly drop my self-esteem. And then I have to spend a month working it back up. Instantly like gain a ton of anxiety. And it is like the best place to go to feel like, oh, what's the next best thing? It's, I think, like a psychological like fucking bomb that goes off. It's like a negative bomb that goes off in your head.
What is so terrible? Educate me.
So I think like as humans, we're looking for meaningful interactions and fulfillment. And this is the opposite of that. It's just superficial, quick, next best thing. You're talking to someone for like 2 hours, then they're gone and they're talking to someone else for 2 hours. Then they find someone else and you find someone else. And it's like, you never get to know anyone. There's no depth. I guess I'm the type of person who needs a friendship, needs depth, needs good conversation, needs to get to know someone. Like I can't just dive in. So it's like just not a good place for me. But again, like during COVID, it's hard to meet people. So I don't know. There's a lot of fake profiles too, Jamie. There's a lot of fake profiles.
Fake profile. Like, well, yeah, I'm aware of that.
If they look like supermodels, the dudes.
If they look like Jamie. Wasn't someone using your picture as a catfish?
Oh, someone was using her picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
I was like, what
just
does that
aim
mean?
higher. Yeah, and it said something ridiculous too. Where it was like, Kelly, I love to laugh and have fun. I love music. I was like, oh, I was like, this is what someone associated with when they saw my picture. I'm like, I hate laughing. I fucking hate fun. Ugh.
No, you don't. You love to laugh and have fun and love music. I should put that on my profile next time I turn it back on.
Yeah, I don't understand catfishing though, especially dudes doing it. It's not like women are going to send you money. Like, what's their purpose in doing it?
So, like, it depends on how you define catfishing, right? Sometimes catfishing is defined as like an actual different person than the person in the profile. And then there's catfishing where like your pictures are 10 years old and you're like 80 pounds lighter. Typically it's the latter. So, I have gone on a date with a guy who like, you know, he showed up like 150 pounds heavier than his photos, and he was still a good looking guy, but I'm like, dude, you can't do this. Like, this is not right. And he's like, well, no, I look just like that. I'm like, no, you don't. That was like 10 years ago.
That is so upsetting. Thinking of that person's like inner feelings about themselves, like that has to be very upsetting to know you put a picture up that's going to mislead someone. And then when you're actually going to like get ready for the date, you probably feel like shit. Because you're like, okay, the first thing that this girl's going to think is like, oh man, I'm so disappointed that this is not who I thought I was meeting. Like that has to feel terrible.
I think there's two different scenarios. I think that's one of them, or they actually think they look like that. I think a lot of people like, I remember my parents saying to me, like, look at our friends. They look so old. I'm like, you guys look the same age. I think we're all delusional about our age. I think we're all delusional about the way we look. I think filters, even men put a ton of filters on Tinder. I think men like see themselves in filters and think that's the way they really look.
I think we all see ourselves a little differently than the world sees us, and we all develop an identity and idea of ourselves at a certain point in our lives. And even when we change that, it's harder to shift that idea or identity of self. So, you know, maybe in his head he's still that guy.
I would say maybe you guys do that, but not me. Like I look exactly how I feel I look inside. Yeah. So it sucks
Jamie,
to be you guys.
Well, you know what? It's so easy for you because you look like a fucking supermodel. Thank you for just rubbing that in.
That must be it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure I'd have a wildly fun time on Tinder. All good experiences, very fulfilling and wholesome and
wholesome. Wholesome is the word I would use to describe Tinder. Look, is this a poker podcast? Are we going to talk about poker?
I don't know. Do you have things you want to say about poker, Veronica?
Yeah, I send the hoodies for more thirst traps. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I will potentially be back at Poker After Dark for another season.
Let's talk about your interest in PLO and your excitement for a new game. What sparked that, and where have you been getting your fix? Are you playing?
Yeah, I've been going to Vegas like almost every other weekend, it seems like. And so I've been playing, honestly, just low PLO, like 1-2 PLO. They have it at the Wynn and Aria a lot. What sparked it is I think Hold'em everyone's gotten so much better in Hold'em. And I feel like I haven't put in a lot of time in Hold'em, and I'm obviously like not a great player. So I've always liked like Omaha 8 for card games. So I thought, well, the field is still kind of soft and I might still have a chance to beat or break even with the game at like mid stakes. So, and I think it's an interesting game. I like the complexity within the game.
Yeah, and it's fun. I just think like I've made this point before, but if you're in the casino, it's the table that's like more raucous and cool, and you'll have more people drinking and having fun. I feel like No Limit, especially mid stakes No Limit Hold'em, is like the library of the poker room where everyone is just like hoodies and headphones and they're trying way too hard and they're grinding out their rent money. And I feel like PLO does not feel like that most of the time.
Yeah. And I think like COVID's changed the dynamic of the tables. I don't know if you've played live at all, Jamie, but like literally just the plexiglass all around you. And like, I can't hear anyone. I can barely hear the dealer. The dealer's got to make like signs to tell me like what the bet is if it's across the table. And it's just like, it's just feels like a different game and it's not as fun anymore. But PLO seems like regardless of the players, it still just seems a little bit more fun to me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Live poker with no talking, no touching. This is actually very appealing.
Intriguing. I'm amazed.
It isn't though. It's like it feels so like sterile now. It like I can't hear or see anyone anymore, and it is like you're in a little box, a little cube, and I hate it actually.
It won't be
I like the social
you
aspect
hate it so
of
much
poker.
you've been making the journey to Vegas every other weekend? What's driving you? Do you just need
I think I've been going to Vegas mostly because I would say like my progress with my like I guess mental health, dealing with loneliness and stuff isn't always linear, right? So I've been kind of hitting a wall with how I'm feeling lately. I feel really cooped up. I'm in my apartment working and sitting at home in my apartment by myself and I'm just getting like really depressed and very lonely. And so I have friends in Vegas. And so like last time I was there, I hung out with Landon and Brandon, the Andons, the entire weekend. And, it's just like to fill my cup. It's just it's less about playing poker, but more about like just having a connection with other human beings. So.
Yeah, well, next time hit me up because I hit you up after you already left because I was working the same time you were on the WSOP episodes. And I was like, oh, cool. When I'm done with this, I'm going to have Veronica. And you're like, I'm at home. I was like, screw you then. But yeah, if
I'll be back in April.
Awesome. I think April 10th, I'm like good to go. I'm able to like interact with humans again. So that would be great. But yeah, that makes me sad that you feel lonely because I feel like you are awesome and don't deserve to feel lonely. But I think a lot of people experience that this year. It's so hard to have like casual, convenient friends that just like drop by for dinner or something because it's like there's so many precautions and so much stuff to worry about that you just can't do that anymore. Just a lot of being alone. And until you plan these little trips with people that, with masks on and stuff, it's also, I don't know, just everything is slightly depressing this year.
Yeah, I think like as humans, we're really driven by our social connections and companionship. And this year was 2020 was great because I learned to be alone and I learned to do the things I like. And I learned like what kind of person I am and my toxic traits and how to, potentially get rid of them and, what I want out of friends and relationships. But then like, I feel like I did all this growth and then I started, I would say in the last like 3 weeks going downhill again. But that's probably because I got back on Tinder.
Oh, no.
I also did some backsliding recently. I mean, I spent all of last year cutting out social media and poker and video games and really planned a year of a lot of growth. I think it's when those structures get removed from your life, you need to replace them with something else. And it's been super difficult to have any new structures or new habits to grow kind of new things. So it's don't beat yourself too much up about some of those old habits and old supports creeping back in. I think that's very normal and natural for that to happen. And like you said, progress isn't linear. We're not going to just be getting better all the time. And yeah, I would say just be gentle with yourself this year about that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I feel like I'm talking to mental health Matt. But yeah, I mean I've tried to be okay with, having setbacks, mental setbacks and not wanting to just be a GTO bot and like reading and like building databases in SQL all day. Like there are times where I just want to watch a movie and like maybe cry. I don't know. But like, I am merely human. So
what's the worst movie you cried at this year?
This year? I don't even know if I've watched a movie this year. Like I watched so few movies.
This year is March to March.
March to March.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Like every time I watch 2001 Space Odyssey, you guys, I know this is going to sound completely insane, but like I'm so moved by that movie. And I do cry when I watch it. Because it's like the ending. I don't know if you guys have watched 2001, but it's like a masterpiece, visual masterpiece. And then the ending is like I don't know. Did he die? Did he find eternal life? Is it another dimension? Like what happened there? What is this baby overlooking the world? No,
I need to watch it. I haven't watched it, so I can't tell you. I can make you feel a little bit better about yourself, though. You'll feel a little less silly.
Yeah, tell me.
A movie that has made me cry multiple times, How to Train Your Dragon, an animated Pixar type of movie.
Those ones are always making people cry, yeah.
For some reason, animated movies, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I just hate people, and people can't evoke these, like, strong emotions in me. But when it's, like, some animated, adorable dragon, it's being mistreated, it, like, literally my eyes well up, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is fake, and I can't stop it anyway. So mine has to be way dumber than yours. Like, I feel like yours has actual real humans in it. It's probably slightly more reasonable.
I cried when the robot died in my movie.
What movie was that? The one with Evie and it's so old. It's not worth talking about. What is it?
Short Circuit.
No, but actually I've cried during that movie.
Short Circuit's a great movie.
It is. And Batteries Not Included was a good movie, but no, there was some animated movie from a while ago that like really got me too. I don't know why they do this to us. You can make your movie about anything, especially if it's animated, and they make it super sad. I'm like, children are watching this. What gives?
Children need to learn how to deal with sadness too. That's what the Pixar movie with all of the emotions inside the little girl's head taught me. I think I cried at that one.
Yeah, like I hate the thought of saying, oh, like, let's not be sad. Don't be sad. Let's do things that aren't sad. Like, no, fucking sadness is a part of our emotional, repertoire. Let's be okay with being sad and just like accept it and be sad for a little bit. It's okay. Let's turn on The Cure pornography and be sad. Have you guys listened to that album?
Like,
no?
Is this what hour 2
I
of
thought you
your
were saying
Tinder
pornography
conversations
is the cure to sadness.
No, pornography could be the cure to sadness, but The Cure pornography is their second album, and it's the saddest album I've ever listened to.
I was just going to make fun of you, but I kind of feel like this is too serious.
I want you to make fun of me, please.
All right, fuck it. I was going to say, is this how your Tinder conversations go? And I'm starting to understand how at hour 2 they're like, you have a good night.
Wow.
Oh man.
All right, I think we gotta end it there. I think that's the perfect ending.
We have derailed. I feel like I love this pod. This was the most meandering, ridiculous pod.
Was this ever on the rails to derail?
No, it was never on the rails. So
you guys have serious conversations with other people? Is that what happens?
It just
are you outing yourself as not listening to the podcast?
No, I do listen to it.
Of course you do.
Just fucking joking.